cover that one.
Woo. Hey everyone, James Niggemeyer here. Thank you for tuning back into my YouTube channel. Today I want to talk about the Bubba Shot. Before I get right into it, if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And if you like the content, please give me a thumbs up and drop a comment down below. So the Bubba Shot, what is it? When do you use it? Why do you use it? That's what I want to get into today. The Bubba Shot is nothing more than a drop shot. However, the key that makes it different is the fact that you're using heavier gear. So I'm using typically anywhere from say 12 to 20 pound test line, and depending upon the cover and the water clarity and different things like that, I may scale up, and even the size of the fish. I may scale up in line size or down in line size, and specifically if the fish are hard to catch, it seems like it's difficult to get a bite, then I might downsize in my line. However, the Bubba Shot is basically a technique that allows you to throw a drop shot into heavier cover. And I feel like there's a lot of different reasons why this is effective. With the Bubba Shot, I want a shorter leader. See, sometimes I just make my leader as long as the worm is. But say something 8-10 inches and less is kind of what I want, because what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to pitch it around targets much like you would pitch or flip some targets. I'm going to be pitching this kind of with an underhand pitch in and around cover, and really just trying to snipe specific positions where I feel like there's going to be a bass setup. One of the things I think that makes this so effective is the fact that bass really don't typically see the drop shot in and around heavier cover. Another thing is when we present baits to heavier cover or in and around heavier cover targets, it's usually a jig or a worm and sinks straight to the bottom. Well, this will too, but once your weight hits the bottom, your worm is going to be suspended, say whatever your leader length is, and then I'm just going to shake it right in the fish's face right there, and maybe even just let it sit motionless, kind of just sitting there and just soaking the bait. And that actually can get you strikes that typically won't. A lot of times we hop our jig or we hop our flipping type presentations, creature baits and stuff. But with this presentation, I can pitch it right in there, specifically if the fish aren't aggressive, and I can just let it sit there and I can just shake it and soak it right there and right in front of the fish's face. And I feel like that's really good as well. And you're also fishing a bait they're not conditioned to seeing in heavier cover, just a little straight tail finesse worm. You can also use little creature baits as well, but a straight tail finesse worm. Talking about the gear here. The gear is, I like a bait casting rod. Typically with a drop shot, a lot of guys like a spinning rod, but the bait caster, I feel like I can manage heavier line more, but I can also cast and control my cast in and around those targets by feathering or thumbing my spool in that underhand pitch style that I feel like with a spinning rod is more difficult to control. Also, the way it lays in there, a lot of times when I'm pitching a Bubba Shot around, I'm just flipping it out there, pitching it out there, and I'm just kind of feathering it, and it's just softly going into the water. Not a big splash, just dropping right in there, and then voila, it's right in front of their face. So I feel like a bait caster is really key. With this setup, I believe I've got 14 pound test gamma fluorocarbon, and I've got a smaller reel. This is the Lew's Custom Light. I like a smaller reel because I'm using typically smaller line with this. And this is also a rod that I use for other things, but this is a Lew's 7'1" heavy, and it's the Signature Series Andy Montgomery skipping rod. I would suggest if you're gonna do some Bubba Shotting, say a 7-foot, medium heavy to heavy action, depending upon the rod brand. Some are heavier than others, and depends also how heavy your line is as well. But just rigging it typical drop shot style, where I'm tying my line, leaving a longer tag in, and then boom, putting on a drop shot weight. With the drop shot weight, I'm generally going a 1/4 ounce, sometimes less, but a 1/4 ounce I feel like is great at helping me control my presentation. It kind of just sinks right in there, not real fast, not real aggressive, just kind of subtle. The hook that I was using today is the Cover Shot HD which if you looked at my recent playlist, New Tackle and Trends, I did a quick video on the Cover Shot HD and why I think it's effective and where I would use it. And this is one of those situations or scenarios. You could use an offset wide gap too, but I feel like it's gonna come through the cover with that more sleek profile like that. Some of the things that I think are really effective about this presentation is if you got a guy that's just a vacuum cleaner at the front of the boat and you're at the back, you can pitch this into some areas and really catch fish behind them. Also, if you're in a heavy fishing pressure situation, a cove or a bay that's got a lot of history and people are in there and it's the springtime and it's kind of one of those take a number type scenarios. A lot of guys are probably throwing Texas rigs and jigs. Try the Bubba Shot. It'll also get big bites. So don't think by going to the Bubba Shot that you're gonna diminish the number of big bites you're gonna get. My biggest bass of all time came on a drop shot with 7-pound test. So you can definitely catch big ones on the Bubba Shot. I think I've covered everything about it. I think it's a super effective technique and it's fallen in and out of favor with me over the years. You know, you just get to doing different things and I think there's gonna be a resurgence with this technique in my boat. If you're out there and you find it difficult to get a bite, or there's a lot of fishing pressure, or it seems like the bass are not aggressive, slow down with a Bubba Shot in and around cover and I think you're gonna get some great bites. The old Bubba Shot right there. Got a little short leader. Got a little 4.5 inch fat baby finesse worm right there. Take fish like that every day. Hey, thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and until next time, good fishing.